Welcome into Texans Today, everybody. I'm your host, Jeremy Chuggs. Coming up on today's program, preseason winners and losers from the Hall of Fame game last night against the Chicago Bears. I want to thank each and every single person that joined us for our live watch party last night. More live watch parties to come, so make sure that you go down and you hit that subscribe button because, like I said, we're going to have daily videos, live watch parties throughout the season, and you don't want to miss out. We are the fastest growing Texans channel on YouTube for good reason because we bring you, our amazing viewers, this sort of content. So if you love the Houston Texans and you want to be a part of the best Texans community here on YouTube, go down and hit that subscribe button, 100% free, or go to youtube.com/Texans TV. Now, last night, the Hall of Fame game ended early due to inclement weather, too much rain, too much thunderstorms. You know, it was getting too much for the boys out there. So they ended it with 3 minutes left in the third quarter. But, you know, Texans ended up losing 21-17, but like I said, early ending for them. Davis Mills looked pretty good in the beginning. JJ Taylor, Xavier Hutchinson, some guys we'll be talking about. On the other side, Brett Rypien looked fantastic. Khalil Herbert was the leading rusher for the Chicago Bears, and Colin Johnson was the leading receiver. Now, let's get right into our winners and losers from yesterday's action. First up, Davis Mills. I think he looked really good in that first quarter up against the Chicago Bears. I really think his body of work, he went 10 for 13, threw a touchdown. Really, one of the best plays of the game was there was a rollout by Davis Mills. The defensive end for the Bears read it perfectly, but Mills was able to juke him out and still connect on a deep ball down the field. Mills really solidified himself. You know, I said it going into yesterday's game. This was going to be a make or break, you know, preseason for Davis Mills, because this is kind of like his last chance to show other teams like, hey, I can still sling the pill. I can still go out there and be a serviceable quarterback in this league. So when it comes time that his contract is done with the Houston Texans, either A, the Texans really want to re-sign him as their backup and continue to have him being with the team, or other teams will look at him and be like, he's either, you know, a guy that we can sign as a backup, or maybe like a Gardner Minshew level talent of like, he can be a spot starter / backup for you. I think Davis Mills proved something to a lot of teams last night and to the Houston Texans. I think he looked really good in that backup spot for this Texans squad. I want to hear from you, though, before I get into the rest of this list. Who was the Texans' biggest winner up against the Chicago Bears yesterday in the Hall of Fame game? Let me know down in the comment section. You can only pick one. Let me know who is the biggest winner from yesterday's action. Next up, Xavier Hutchinson, and this might be a couple of y'all's answers down below. He's really fighting for that roster spot, and yesterday he looked great running routes during the first half for this team. He seemed to be the guy who kept on getting open for Davis Mills and Case Keenum once he came into the game. You know, 5 catches yesterday, looked really, really good in his time playing. 56 yards for Xavier Hutchinson, the second-year player out of Iowa State. And like I said, he's really battling for that last wide receiver spot. You kind of already have the first 5 locked up, in my opinion. I think they're going to keep, obviously, Tank Dell, Stephon Diggs, Nico Collins. I think they also keep Noah Brown. I think John Mechie makes that list as well. So there's only really room for one more guy. So it comes down to guys like Xavier Hutchinson, Ben Skoranek, Steven Sims, fighting for that last roster spot. And Xavier Hutchinson looked really good yesterday. If he can do that and help on special teams, I think he could have earned himself a spot with this squad. The next one is a twofer for you. I thought both these guys looked really good yesterday. Cam Akers and JJ Taylor, both of the running backs in the first half for the Texans, I thought looked pretty good. And JJ Taylor also got it done on special teams. So we'll start with him. 6 carries for 16 yards for JJ Taylor. I think he looked pretty good in the game. You know, obviously only got a little bit of run. But what really impressed me with this kid is he was able to get that fumble recovery on special teams on that punt. If you're going to be the 4th running back on the roster, you have to work your ass off in special teams and make this team in creative ways. And that's what JJ Taylor did yesterday. He looked really good on offense and on special teams. And whenever it goes to Cam Akers, obviously he's had 2 Achilles injuries. He has gone through a lot in this league. And he looked really good. He had that spin cycle catch on the screen pass, and then he had another catch for a touchdown. Looked really good running the ball as well. So Cam Akers making a case to be that RB3. I do have to say, Agumbawale looked decent yesterday as well, but if Taylor and Akers emerge on this team during the training camp in the preseason, that could mean maybe Agumbawale finds himself on the outside looking in. Just something to keep in mind with that running back 3, running back 4 battle going on during camp. I thought another winner from last night, the new offensive line, I thought looked really good. And it was surprising because D'Amico Ryan said, we're not going to play any starters. But then the game starts and you see Juice Scruggs in at center and Kenyon Green in at left guard, 2 guys who were supposed to start for this team. So whenever I looked at this new offensive line, I thought they looked really good, obviously going up against Bears backups, but Kenyon Green looked good. Juice Scruggs looked good on those first couple of drives. I thought they really played very well yesterday. I was really interested to see. I want to hear more from D'Amico on why he ended up playing those 2 guys, but I thought the new guys on the offensive line stepping up this year, they looked pretty good in yesterday's game as well. And lastly, the last winner on my list are the rookies. I thought the rookies really looked good yesterday. The leading tackler for this team was Kalen Bullock. He looked really good, the safety out of USC. They traded up for him in the 3rd round for a reason, and he looked pretty good yesterday. I can't say as much in coverage how Kalen Bullock looked. I didn't see a ton of, plays thrown his way, maybe 1 or 2, but yesterday, my biggest concern with him is his tackling ability, and I thought he came down well and got a couple really good tackles yesterday for this team. Another rookie that I think showed out pretty well for this team, Cade Stover. 2 receptions, 26 yards. He did get beat on one play where he was supposed to be blocking on a running play, but I thought he looked pretty good in running his routes, going out there and catching the ball. He looked really fluid, looked really athletic. He caught a ball short of the line to gain, and then was able to make an athletic play and get a first down. I thought Cade Stover looked good for this Texans team yesterday. Another rookie that I said, going into the game, the defensive tackles needed to step up. I really liked what I saw out of Marcus Harris, the rookie out of Auburn, the 7th round pick. I know it says he only had 1 tackle yesterday, but he was getting into the backfield pretty often for this Texans defense. I thought he looked really good for this team. So I was really impressed with him, and really, with everything going on with Danico Autry, he's suspended for 6 games. This is the perfect opportunity for a guy like Marcus Harris to step in and try to earn that roster spot and be one of the rotation guys in this defensive tackle room. And lastly, I called my shot. I said it. I think he's the only UDFA that has a chance to make this roster, in my opinion, and it's Max Tooley, the linebacker out of BYU. 2 tackles yesterday. Obviously, he would have played a little bit more. I think we could have seen a little bit more of Max Tooley if the game didn't end early in the 3rd quarter. But I thought he looked really good there at that linebacker spot. Made a couple of really good tackles, in my opinion. Max Tooley, somebody that you need to watch out for the rest of camp, especially if we don't get more news around Christian Harris. If this continues to prolong, to kind of drag out, Max Tooley could be a guy to maybe keep on the 53-man roster. Maybe they keep an extra linebacker just in case, and it could be a guy like Tooley. I have some losers coming up. I'm not going to say losers, maybe guys who didn't shine as much yesterday against the Bears, but I couldn't do today's show if it wasn't for our amazing sponsor in Game Time. Go check them out today. Use promo code ChatSports for $20 off your first purchase with our sponsor, Game Time, today. They are the last-second ticketing app that I use anytime I need to go out. I've been using Game Time for a while, and it's my go-to ticketing app for sporting events, concerts, and comedy shows. This year alone, I've been able to see Shane Gillis, Dave Chappelle, Drake, Adele, and plan on going to multiple Astros games this year. So don't miss out in a once-in-a-lifetime experience by using the Game Time app to get you the best deals on last-second tickets. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code CHATSPORTS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code CHATSPORTS for $20 off your first purchase. Download Game Time today. Last-minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. They have flash deals all the time leading up to events, so it's really good deals on events that you're around your area that you'll want to go to. You can see the view from your seat before you even buy the ticket, and the lowest price guarantee means if you find a seat in the same section in the same row for cheaper to the same event, they'll refund you 110% of the difference. So go use Game Time today. Texans games, they're coming up, and I'm promising you, as the games get closer, the ticket prices should go down a little bit, and you can get great deals by using our sponsor, Game Time. Now, let's look at some of the losers. I say losers from yesterday's game, but just guys who, maybe hurt their stock a little bit this season. There's some injuries that we got to talk about. First off, this one hurts me. Teagan Quitoriano, after that touchdown catch, I mean, it's a story where it's like the dude's been injured his entire career in the NFL out of Oregon State. I mean, he's had a lot of hopes. He's had a lot of, times where you're like, dude, this kid can be something special for this team. This kid can really do something. He ended up getting, he limped off the field and then he got carted into the back. That was one guy who got injured yesterday. Another guy was Lonnie Johnson Jr. He ended up getting injured yesterday, had to come off the field. And then linebacker Jake Hansen also got injured yesterday. That literally the opposite of what you want to see in a preseason game, an exhibition game that doesn't really mean anything. And at the end of the day, I know I was upset that we didn't get to see some of the guys that we really wanted to. Obviously, I really wanted to see Kamari Lassiter, the rookie out of Georgia. But it's almost a good thing that he didn't play, because if they are really trying to protect this kid, if they want him to, not get injured before the regular season, that means they have very high hopes for Kamari Lassiter being this Texans CB2 this year. So injuries obviously suck. Really hope Teagan, Jake, and Lonnie can, get back out there, get back on the field, and really try to earn that last roster spot. But obviously it sucks. It's a part of football. But those were, some of the injuries that happened in yesterday's game. Another one that kind of worried me a little bit was the secondary depth yesterday. And Brett Rippon just absolutely destroyed this secondary once he got into the game. I mean, there was that drive at the end of the first half where they just marched straight down the field. And, Troy Pride Jr., he was decent in coverage against Colin Johnson, but, Colin Johnson was going up against him a couple times. He actually made one good play on Colin Johnson. Chris Boyd, though, got just absolutely turned around in the end zone against Colin Johnson. So it's a little bit worrisome with the secondary depth. I mean, I wonder who's going to step in behind the top three of Derek Stingley, Kamari Lassiter, and Desmond King. I really wonder who's going to be that next, fourth, fifth corner. I'm thinking maybe Jeff Okudah. Miles Bryant looked okay yesterday, but it's still an open race for that fourth, fifth cornerback, in my opinion. And some guys, more than others, played well yesterday. Some of them, like I said, Brett Rippon, 3 touchdowns, was just driving the ball down the field as soon as he got in the game yesterday, eating apart this secondary. That was a little bit of a concern for me. So I want you to go down in the comment section. Let me know, who is the Texans' biggest loser against the Bears yesterday? And I'm not calling this person a loser. I'm saying, the person who hurt their stock yesterday, who didn't have a good game yesterday, who really, hurt themselves moving forward in training camp and into the preseason. Let me know who that person is down below. The last loser, it has to be the Texans fans, because we didn't get to see the comeback. The game ended early. That blows. We wanted to see, the Texans down a little bit. They were, riding high in the beginning. They were up all the way until the Bears took the lead whenever they went up 21-17. And then it just ended. We didn't get to see the ending of the game. And you never want that. You never want a game to end where it's inclement weather. That blows. So I really felt bad for, everybody who was watching out there, and some of these Texans four-stringers as well. It was up for them to, get their chance to play. There was their opportunity to go out there and prove themselves, kind of like a Max Tooley, like I talked about earlier. And then the game just ended. So it sucked all around for Texans fans, the Texans fourth-string players. But obviously, if it was thunderstorming and raining as hard as it was yesterday, it makes sense that they didn't finish the game. Now, I'll have more updates for you throughout the week. Make sure you hit me up on Twitter at Jeremy Chuggs for the latest around the Texans, around the NFL, the dankest memes on the internet. I got you covered. My DMs are always open. And make sure you hit that subscribe button for daily Texans content all year long. We are your one-stop shop for Texans coverage here on YouTube. So there's nothing to lose. It's 100% free. Go down and hit that sub button, or go to youtube.com/TexansTV.